Good morning. I've got 3 children here at home, and they were asking this morning about Father Christmas and wanting to know whether he will be front of the queue to get the vaccine.
Oh, absolutely. The JCVI made a very special case for Father Christmas, and he is going to be absolutely at the top of our list.
Brilliant.
Well, at present, the television, I think, is being used quite harmlessly. It's being used, I think, I would feel it's being used too much to distract everybody all the time. But I mean, imagine, which must be the situation in all communist countries, where the television, where it exists, is always saying the same thing the whole time, is always driving along. It's not creating a wide front of distraction, it's creating a one-pointed drumming in of a single idea all the time. It's obviously an immensely powerful instrument.
Morning, I'm Diane Simmons. We now go to Tom Tucker, live at the site of the U.S. blockade. Tom.
The situation is very tense and extremely dangerous. It's only a matter of time before, Oh my God, they've opened fire. All right, looks like things are getting very heated here. This is not a safe place to be. And now sports.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment. The only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution, not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial and the sentimental, not to simply give the public what it wants, but to inform, to arouse, to reflect, to state our dangers and our opportunities, to indicate our crises and our choices, to lead, mold, educate, and sometimes even anger public opinion.
20 years ago when I entered this business, there were 29 dominant entertainment firms with $100 billion in annual revenues. Today, there are 6, making nearly $400 billion. It shows the vast accretion of these conglomerates and just how tightly our national media is trapped within 6 webs of control. The ideas that are the vital raw material of our country's democratic process are mostly funneled through these 6 corporations.
But as a reporter who studied the industry that seeks to manipulate us on behalf of paid interests, I know that few themes that arise on the news or few themes distributed through politicians arise organically. A noted propagandist I interviewed for my book, The Smear, told me, you know, nearly every image that crosses your path in daily life or on the news was put there for a reason, often by someone who paid a lot of money to place it there.
As a result, the free speech of Americans on all sides of the political spectrum are stifled, and both the artists we represent and the viewers and listeners in our audience are left out.
It means greater attention to improved understanding of the news, as well as improved transmission. And it means, finally, that government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits of national security, and we intend to do it.
The public needs to learn to watch the news much as you do a TV commercial. You need to start thinking, why is that story airing? Who pushed it? What special interest might be behind it? And am I getting the full story?
Before pronouncing on media freedoms in Hungary, we might care to look at what we do as a parliament. We might like to think about the hundreds of thousands of euros of public subsidy that we give to the European Union of Journalists. We might like to think of the tens of thousands of euros that we spend every week flying local reporters in particular out to Brussels and Strasbourg in order to show them a good time. We might like to think of the way in which dozens of accredited correspondents in Brussels are getting second incomes as advisors on media issues or editors or writers on EU-funded free sheets. I think the way in which we use taxpayers' money in this nakedly propagandist way is something that ought to offend our basic principles of decency, fairness, and democracy. We should cantilever the great tree trunk out of our own eye before we start worrying about the speck in that of Hungary.
I think there's a market for reporting on pharmaceutical industry dangers, which you will never see on the news to any big degree anymore because they pay for all the advertising. Same with print outlets.
It turns out 9 out of 10 big pharmaceutical companies spend more on marketing than on research, with Britain's largest pharmaceutical company, GlaxoSmithKline, spending nearly £6.5 billion of its profits, much of it from NHS taxpayer money, on marketing, compared to around half that on finding new cures for illnesses.
When everybody's on the same page, it might be the result of an organized campaign.
And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.